Welcome to Evo India and welcome to our new series Videos Under Lockdown, where we tell you about the important new cars and bikes that you will be driving and riding very soon once this lockdown is lifted. In this episode, we tell you about the new Hyundai Creta and how it compares with the MG Hector. We start with the styling of the Creta. Now this Creta is completely different from the earlier Creta. Not one body panel, not one part, nothing is carried over from the earlier Creta. But this Creta has a lot in common with the Kia Seltos. Same engine, same platform, same wheelbase, same weights, everything is the same. But the Creta looks completely different from the Seltos. It has its own visual identity. Now the Hector, this too is a striking design. It's got the headlamps in the bumpers and the LED eyebrow DRLs, which does cut a fine shape on the road. The Hector is long and that definitely has street presence. Now the tail lamps, it is joined by this red beam between the two tail lamps, but that is not illuminated. The tail lamps though have this cool trick. Like the Audis, it has got these repeater LEDs, which does look quite cool. With the Hyundai Creta, it's got the name written prominently across the rear hatch, so you cannot mistake this for any other car on the road. The rear too gets this tri-LED treatment, so that does have a distinct visual identity, and the stop lamp mounted above the edge of the Hyundai logo. In profile, it does look proportionate, well balanced. There are no ungainly wheel arch gaps. The 17-inch wheels fill out the wheel arches completely, and it does have a good stance. These tires, they are 215 by 60 R17 tires, the same tire size as the Hector, but here it does look more proportionate, and the Creta does get all-round disc brakes. Again, same 215 by 60 R17 tires on the Hector, but because the Hector is much bigger, these tires look a bit under-tired on the Hector. The MG Hector has come in for a lot of praise on the interior front, and not without reason. The large 10.4-inch vertically oriented touchscreen is among the largest that you will find on any vehicle sold in India. The Hector, it also gets an inbuilt eSIM, and that gives it a lot of functionality. A lot of voice controls, voice commands. You can open the sunroof using your voice commands. It also has integrated apps like Gaana, navigation. So a whole load of functionality with the MG Hector. This version that we are looking at is the petrol automatic. The automatic is a 6-speed twin clutch automatic, not a 7-speed like the Creta, but the 6-speed twin clutch automatic. Where the Hector scores is on space. As Aatish is demonstrating, there's a lot of knee room, a lot of headroom. The rear seats, they recline. The Hector is an excellent vehicle if you are being chauffeur driven in. Moving on to the Hyundai Creta, now this is also very well styled. It gets a 10.25-inch screen, but it's not as large as the Hectors. This is the turbo, so it gets all black interior theme with red highlights. Red highlights on the aircon controls, red highlights on the steering wheel, on the seats, and it all looks very nice. Now this is in sport mode, so that's why the dials are glowing red. The 7-speed automatic for the 1.4 turbo-petrol works really well. Plus, it gets paddles for the gear shifter, so you can control the gearbox via the paddles on the steering wheel. Another cool touch is the cooled seats. Now it gets different modes, so you get comfort, eco sport, also snow, mud and sand. It is only front wheel drive. Now this is the seat coolers that we were talking about, which really works well in Indian summers, and the Bose sound system kicks out very good sound. This sunroof is big by the Creta standards, but of course the Hector has a larger panoramic sunroof, and that's because the Hector is a larger car. The Creta also gets these nice cushions for the rear headrest, blinds for the rear passengers. It does make this a nice, cozy, comfortable SUV. In terms of dimensions, there is no mistaking the fact that the Creta is smaller than the Hector. The Creta is 4.3 meters in length, 1.8 meters in width, and 1635 mm in height. It runs on a 2610 mm wheelbase. In contrast, the Hector, it is much longer. It is 4655 mm in length, 1835 mm in width, and 1760 mm in height, and its wheelbase is 2750 mm. In terms of boot space too, the Hector is bigger. 587 liters to the Hector compared to the 433 liters of the Creta. Now let's talk engines and powertrain. The Creta, this one is the 1.4 turbo-petrol, which makes 138 bhp and 242 Newton meters of torque, and it is only available with a 7-speed twin-clutch automatic gearbox. If you want a diesel, you also get the diesel with an automatic. It makes 113.4 bhp and 250 Newton meters of torque. And there is also a 1.5 litre naturally aspirated petrol that makes 113.4 bhp and 144 Newton meters of torque, and that is available with the option of a CVT gearbox. The Hector is also available with both the petrol as well as the diesel. Now the petrol is a 1.4 turbo petrol that makes 141 bhp and 250 Newton meters of torque, and it gets the option of a 6-speed twin clutch automatic. The manual is available with the smart hybrid, which does torque fill the power band and makes the engine much nicer to use. As for the diesel, it's a 2-litre diesel sourced from FCA. It makes 167.7 bhp and 350 Newton meters of torque, and it only gets a manual gearbox, no automatic with the diesel on the Hector. And finally, on the pricing front, and here the Creta does undercut the Hector. Now the Creta, it starts at 9.99 lakhs for the petrol as well as the diesel. The Hector, it starts at 12.73 lakhs for the petrol and 13.88 lakhs for the diesel. If you're looking at the top-end petrol automatics, the Hector, it is 17.43 lakh rupees, and the Creta is not that much cheaper at 17.2 lakh rupees. And as for the diesels, with the diesel only available with the manual on the Hector, so we look at only the manuals, the Hector top-end diesel manual is 17.72 lakh rupees, whereas the Creta, the top-end diesel manual is 15.8 lakh rupees. So the Creta, it does undercut the Hector by a significant margin. That's the Creta versus the Hector. We'll be back after the lockdown with more videos where we'll be actually driving the cars on the road and give you a more comprehensive comparison test of the Creta and its rivals. Take care, stay safe, and we'll be back very soon. Subscribe to the Evo India channel and hit the bell icon to keep pace with the thrill of driving.